It was supposed to take 3 hours, a walk in daylight, a trail so popular that tourists do it before lunch and are back for dinner. 2 friends went up. They waved goodbye at 11 in the morning. They were never seen alive again. For 10 weeks, the jungle gave back nothing. No bodies, no clothes, no trace. And then a backpack appeared by a river, far, far from where they should have been. Inside it, their phones, their camera, and 90 photographs taken in total darkness, in the middle of the night, that no one has ever been able to explain. This is not a ghost story. Every detail you are about to hear is in the official file. Their names were Kris and Lisanne, 2 students from the Netherlands, best friends. Kris was 21, drawn to art and to photography. Lisanne was 22, an athlete, calm, careful. She wanted to work with children. In March of 2014, they flew to Panama together. The plan was simple and good. 6 weeks, learn Spanish, volunteer at a local school, see a piece of the world before real life began. They settled in Boquete, a small mountain town, cool air, green hills, the kind of place travelers call paradise. Classes had not started yet. They had a few free days, and on the 1st of April, they decided to spend one of them on an easy, well-known trail just outside town. They took the family dog with them. They told no one to worry. There was no reason to. The trail is called El Pianista, the piano. It climbs through cloud forest to a ridge with a view of the valley, about 3.5 hours round trip for an average walker. That afternoon, their camera took ordinary photos. 2 friends smiling, green hills, sunlight. A normal, happy hike. The last daytime photo was taken in the early afternoon, at the top, past the ridge, on the far side, where the marked trail begins to fade into wild jungle. And then the same day, at 13 minutes past 4 in the afternoon, one of their phones tried to call emergency services. Minutes later, the second phone tried too. Something had gone wrong. Somewhere after that ridge, on an easy trail, thousands of people walked safely. The simplest day hike of their lives turned into something neither of them would walk out of. The dog came back alone. That night, they did not come home. The next morning, they missed an appointment with a local guide. Concern became fear. Fear became a search. By the 6th of April, their parents had flown from the Netherlands to Panama, bringing Dutch detectives and dog teams to join the local police. They combed the forest for 10 days. Helicopters, volunteers, search dogs working the ridge and the ravines below it. In 2014, the technology simply could not see through that canopy. The rainforest was too thick, the terrain too steep, the rivers too many. They found nothing, not a footprint, not a scrap of fabric. 2 young women had walked into a forest 30 minutes from town and vanished as completely as if the trail had closed behind them. 10 weeks passed. The search had wound down. And then, in June, a local woman from a remote village called Alto Romero turned in a blue backpack. She said she had found it by a riverbank. The village sat far from the trail, hours of hard walking through jungle, on the far side of the mountains from where the women had started. Inside the backpack, everything was strangely intact. 2 pairs of sunglasses, cash, untouched, a water bottle, Lisanne's camera, and both of their phones. Nothing stolen, nothing destroyed. The money's still there. Whatever happened to Kris and Lisanne, robbery was not the motive, because the most valuable things they carried came back, dry and in order, in a bag by a river that no lost hiker should ever have reached. The phones and the camera would now tell the rest of the story. Most of it. Not all. The phones held a record of 10 desperate days. It began the very afternoon of the hike. Those first calls to emergency numbers on the 1st of April. Over the days that followed, the phones were turned on, again and again, searching for a signal that the jungle would not give them. In total, 77 attempts to reach help, to the emergency number in Panama and to the emergency number back home in the Netherlands. Out of all of them, only one call ever connected, and it lasted seconds before it died. Then the patterns turned strange. One phone's battery ran down and went silent after the 4th of April, but the other, Kris's iPhone, kept being switched on for days afterward. And on several of those days, someone tried to unlock it and entered the wrong code. A phone that had been opened 1,000 times before, now failing its own PIN. On the 11th of April, it was turned on one last time, late in the morning, and then it was switched off forever. After that, only silence. But it is the camera that no one can forget. For a week after they disappeared, it sat unused. And then, on the night of the 8th of April, 7 days after the hike began, it was switched on in the dark. Over roughly 3 hours, between 7 in the evening and 10 at night, it took around 90 photographs, almost all of them in near total blackness. The flash lighting up fragments of a world, wet rock, a branch, plastic bags placed on a stone, what looks like a backpack, running water somewhere close, and in one frame, the back of a human head, hair matted, lit by the flash in the dark. 90 photos, in the deep of the jungle night, taken with care, one after another. Why? Theories fill the silence. Were they using the flash to light a path? To signal for rescue, throwing light at a sky no one was watching? To map a place they were trapped in? Or was something else behind that lens? The camera recorded what happened. It never recorded why. 2 months after the backpack, the remains began to appear, scattered for kilometers along the river. A boot with a foot still inside. A pelvis. In the end, only a fraction of each woman was ever recovered. Some of Lisanne's bones were found bleached, as if exposed for far longer than the others. DNA confirmed the truth no family wants, and here the story splits into two and refuses to choose. The official conclusion: an accident. They lost the trail past the ridge, fell in that broken country, and the river carried the rest. The forensic lead for one family came to believe the same, that violence was unlikely, but others never accepted it. They point to the untouched cash, the folded shorts placed high on a rock, the backpack that traveled impossibly far, the wrong pin entered again and again. 2 explanations, both with holes, neither with proof. The official file is closed. The case, in every way that matters, is still open. An easy trail. A 3-hour walk. 2 friends who waved goodbye at 11 in the morning. What came back were fragments. A handful of calls that never connected. 90 photographs taken in the dark. A backpack that crossed a distance no lost hiker could explain. Investigators called it an accident. The families were never sure, and no one has ever explained the money no one took or the code entered wrong night after night. Thousands still walk the El Pianista trail. They reach the ridge, take their pictures, and come home before dark. Kris and Lisanne reached that ridge too. What happened on the other side, the jungle has never said. And it is still there, green and quiet.